And we begin. All right, so we're going to pipe some rosettes, and the technique for that, there's a couple of ways to do it wrong and a couple of ways to do it right. Well, actually one way to do it right. So we're going to pipe big bag, little bag. All right. Clean off our tip. Make sure you start with a nice clean tip. You don't want to have icing half hanging out of your tip. You're going to be at 12 o'clock. I'm going to start piping. You're about a ½ inch away, and I like to use my palette knife because it forces me to make them about the right size. So you're going to make a circle. It should be a little more closed than that one was. But then I'm going to follow that line around. See how mine's getting a little dry, my buttercream? It's sitting in the bag and it's starting to stiffen up. Start at noon, 12 o'clock, come around, stop piping about 11, keep moving in the circle. All right, finally did one right there on the end. Let me show you what we're not going to do. We're not going to make G's. G's look like this. Come around and then pass through the middle. Whoop, really not going to do that. Okay, that's a G. We're also not doing this. That's Dairy Queen. Okay, which is nice. They're delicious and I like them. That's not what we're doing. One more thing we're not going to do. Okay, we don't want to make them flat. So make sure your tip is up off. If you're too close, that's not what we're doing either. Okay, right here, every time. So, mark my cake 12, 6, 3, and 9, 2 in between. And then when I make them, I move the cake. I don't move around trying to pipe the same thing. I move the cake so it's right in front of me. Put my tip at 12 o'clock. I also want them pretty much right at the edge of the cake. So I start at 12 o'clock. As soon as it hits the cake, I start moving and move around. Turn the cake. Touch and go. Touch and go. Okay, nice round. The points pointing away around the circle. They're not going through the middle. They're not closing the circle. Okay, that's a rosette. And that's the way I like to make them for my cakes, so that they're all the same. Remember, the professionalism is in the repetition. So now we go back to our mandarin oranges. Okay, and every one of them is going to point towards the center. I think I got robbed. Somebody left me with this monster one that I wasn't going to use. They sit out for a while, they get a little bit dry and sticky too, so you can wet your fingers with a little bit of syrup to help them not stick. Give it a spin, except for that big one that I got jammed with. It's pretty good. Okay? Alright, so then we're going to lift those up. Get my toasted almonds here. This makes a lovely transition. Okay, and that's what I'm looking to do. I want to transition. So I take a clean palette knife, and get up under my cake, and I'm going to roll it in my hand just like I did before. It's a good idea to go ahead and clean off your turntable. Have your friend do it, have your partner do it if you don't feel confident holding on to your cake while you're doing this. Bad things happen. And one kid dropped his this morning. Kind of sad. He's done a nice job up until then. He's going to come back in on Friday and fix it. So make sure you got a nice clean surface to set down on them and put down my gold board. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of almonds, and what I'm looking to do is hide that corrugated circle, and since it's covered with buttercream, that should not be hard to do. Just that bottom edge all the way around. I'm not trying to come up the sides of the cake. Just make sure I cannot see that cardboard cake circle. Just the bottom edge. Don't want to see almonds halfway up. I'm not trying to hide my combing. I'm not trying to mask the cake. If that's what we were doing, this would be called carrot cake. Okay. Just the barest edge. If you're so inclined, we could sift out some almonds and do a little center circle too. Again, I would not do that if I were selling this to like a restaurant for a dessert cake, because it never cuts well. But if I'm putting it in the case and selling it, I could put a little garnish in the center. Wouldn't have hurt. I was thinking about maybe putting a little almond extract in the buttercream. That would work out well. Boost that almond flavor, give there a reason to be almonds on there. It's not a bad compliment with the orange.
Do we have the simple syrup?
What? Flavor the, no, just extract directly in the buttercream. It takes on flavor pretty well. Color too, honestly. Although it bleeds. When you do colored buttercream on top of white, you'll get bleeding. So we're gonna set this down, put it on your palette knife, center it, balance it. If you want, you don't have to. Last thing out is what?
Make it even.
Palette knife. Don't bring your finger out last. You're gonna swipe your cake with your finger. Get it centered. Once you know you're there, swap your finger for the palette knife and down. Not bad. Okay? Centered on the turntable. And again, we can put a little circle cutter in there. I'll sift out some and I'll show you that, but you don't have to do that. But that's the finish of your cake right there. All right? Practice on your palette knife your rosettes. If you can fit a good rosette in your palette knife, you're good to go. We'll meet back here when you're done.